7 Japanese stretches that solve 90% of your mobility problems. If you follow the channel, you already know that the Japanese are the people with the highest number of individuals over 100 years old in the entire world. But what few people talk about is how they manage to reach 80, 90, and even 100 years old while still being able to bend down, sit on the floor, and stand up without help. Meanwhile, in the West, millions of people spend 10 to 12 hours a day sitting. The result? Half the population at 40 years old already complains of hip pain, lower back stiffness, and difficulty performing basic movements. And do you know why this happens? These mobility problems don't come from age, but rather from the lack of intentional movement. If every day you spend hours working while sitting, you need to dedicate a few minutes daily to avoid developing problems. It's like a car parked in the garage for months. It wasn't time that damaged the engine, it was the lack of use. The Japanese understood this centuries ago and incorporated simple stretches into their daily routines, from childhood to old age. That's why today, you'll see 7 stretches used by the Japanese for bodies that never present mobility problems. Before we begin, please tell us through the comments your name and the city from where you're watching our content. We'd love to know. Stretch number 1, forward bend with legs apart. This stretch is practiced both in Japanese makoho and in community health programs spread throughout all of Japan. In rural communities, it's common to see groups of elderly people gathered in the morning at community centers practicing exactly this movement as part of a collective body care routine. And there's a very clear reason for this tradition. The forward bend with legs apart works directly on the adductor muscles of the inner thighs and the entire posterior chain, including the hamstrings and the spinal erectors in the lower back region. These are muscles that silently shorten when we spend the entire day sitting, and this shortening gradually steals your ability to perform simple movements like bending down to pick something up from the floor or tying your shoes without feeling that uncomfortable pull in the back of your legs. The benefits go beyond pure flexibility. This stretch improves blood circulation in the pelvic region, helps relieve accumulated tension in the lower back, and contributes to more aligned posture throughout the day. Regular practitioners manage to recover range of motion they thought they had lost permanently. To execute the movement correctly, sit on the floor with your legs open at a comfortable angle, something between 90 and 120 degrees, depending on your current flexibility. Keep your feet pointing upward and your spine well elongated. Now, tilt your torso slowly forward as if you wanted to bring your navel toward the floor, not your head. This detail is fundamental. Many people make the mistake of curving their spine to try to reach farther, but the emphasis should be on keeping the back straight, even if that means tilting only a few inches. It's more important to preserve the alignment of the spine than to impress with the depth of the movement. Other common mistakes include holding your breath during the stretch, which increases muscular tension instead of relieving it, and forcing your knees down by pushing with your hands, which can overload the joint. Hold the position for 30 to 60 seconds, breathing slowly and deeply, and repeat 2 to 3 times. As your flexibility improves over the weeks, gradually increase the angle of leg opening and the depth of the tilt. As for contraindications, people with herniated discs in the lower back region should be cautious and consult a professional before practicing, as should those with recent injuries to the adductors or hamstrings. Always progress respecting your body's limits. Stretch number 2, resting squat. If you've ever traveled to Japan or any Southeast Asian country, you've certainly noticed something that seems almost impossible to us Westerners. People of all ages squatting comfortably with their heels supported on the floor, talking, eating, or simply resting. In Japan, this position is used for various daily activities, from cooking to socializing, and this since childhood. The deep resting squat is possibly the best mobility exercise that exists because it works the flexibility of the hips, ankles, and lower back region simultaneously. It recruits and strengthens the quadriceps, hamstrings, glutes, and calves in an integrated way, besides significantly improving balance and proprioception. The gluteus maximus, which is the largest muscle in the human body, and 99% of people don't know this, is intensely activated in this position, contributing to pelvic stabilization and the prevention of lower back pain. The calves, considered the second heart of the body for helping to pump blood back to the heart against gravity, are also deeply stretched in this exercise, which improves circulation in the legs and can help prevent falls at more advanced ages. To execute correctly, start with your feet apart at shoulder width, or slightly wider, with your feet slightly pointed outward. Squat slowly, keeping your heels on the floor and your chest up. Allow your knees to advance over your feet naturally. A very common mistake is trying to keep your back completely vertical by forcing the lower back, when in fact, a slight forward tilt of the torso is natural and expected in this position. Another frequent mistake is rising onto the toes due to lack of ankle mobility. If this happens to you, don't worry. The Japanese recommend starting by holding onto a wall or chair for support, or placing a folded towel under your heels while gaining mobility. Hold the position for 30 to 60 seconds, trying to relax progressively with each exhalation, and repeat 2 to 3 times. The goal is to gradually increase the time until you can comfortably stay for 2 to 3 continuous minutes without support. The main contraindication is for people with injuries to the menisci or knee ligaments, who should avoid this exercise or practice it with reduced amplitude and under professional guidance. Stretch number 3, Seiza. Seiza is the traditional Japanese way of sitting, and its name literally means to sit correctly. This position is deeply rooted in Japanese culture, being practiced in tea ceremonies, in martial arts like Kendo and Aikido, and in Zen temples during meditation. Japanese children learn to sit in Seiza from very early on, and this creates a foundation of flexibility in the lower limbs that is maintained throughout life. What makes this stretch particularly valuable is that it works muscles that almost no other common exercise reaches efficiently. Seiza gently stretches the quadriceps, hip flexors, and the front part of the ankles, regions that become chronically shortened when we spend most of the day sitting in chairs. Additionally, the position promotes natural postural awareness. It's practically impossible to sit in Seiza with a curved spine, so the body self-adjusts to an upright posture without conscious effort. To execute, kneel on the floor and sit on your heels, with the tops of your feet resting on the floor and your spine well erect. Your hands rest naturally on your thighs. Your knees can be together or slightly apart according to comfort. To intensify the stretch in the quadriceps, tilt your torso slightly backward, supporting yourself on your hands positioned behind your body. The Japanese recommend using a cushion known as zabuton under the knees for beginners or people with joint sensitivity. A common mistake that many people make is giving up too quickly due to feeling initial discomfort in the ankles or knees. The secret is to start with short sessions of 15 to 20 seconds and gradually increase. With regular practice, circulation improves, and the initial discomfort decreases significantly. Hold the position for 30 seconds to 1 minute, progressing over the weeks until you can remain for 2 to 3 minutes comfortably, repeating 2 to 3 times per session. People with knee injuries, such as chondromalacia patellae or significant ankle problems, should avoid this position or practice it only with a thick cushion between the glutes and heels, and always consulting a health professional. Stretch number 4, lateral trunk tilt. Now we move to a movement that is part of Ragio Taiso, the famous radio gymnastics practiced by millions of Japanese every morning. The lateral trunk tilt is one of the classic movements of this routine and works on something that most people simply ignore: the flexibility of the spine in lateral movements. Have you ever imagined how many times a day your body needs to move sideways? Reaching for something on a shelf, turning in the car seat, reaching for an object on the couch. All these movements require lateral mobility of the spine, and when it's lacking, the body compensates in ways that generate pain and injuries. This stretch directly targets the abdominal obliques, the quadratus lumborum, and all the intercostal musculature, which are the muscles between the ribs. It also works the lateral chain of the torso, including the latissimus dorsi on the side being stretched. It's particularly useful for preventing the stiffness that develops with aging, and the centenarians of Okinawa practice this movement regularly as part of their morning routines. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Having constant access to science-based information is what will make you progress with health in the long term in the world of exercise. To execute the lateral tilt correctly, stand with your feet apart at shoulder width. Raise one arm above your head and tilt your torso gently to the opposite side, feeling the stretch on the side of the torso on the side of the raised arm. The The secret is to keep your hips stable while only the torso moves. Imagine that your hips are glued to a wall and only the upper part of your body tilts. The main mistakes to avoid are tilting your body forward instead of to the side, which transforms the exercise into something completely different, and lifting the foot on the opposite side off the floor, which shows you're compensating with your hips. Hold each tilt for 15 to 30 seconds on each side, repeating 2 to 3 times for each side. Remember to breathe deeply during the stretch, expanding the ribs on the side being stretched. The contraindication here is for people with lateral herniated discs or spondylolisthesis, who should avoid pronounced lateral movements of the spine without prior medical guidance. Now that we've worked on the mobility of the legs, hips, and sides of the torso, let's focus on the back. Stretch number 5, Cobra pose. The Cobra pose is widely used in Japan to relieve back pain caused by long periods of sitting, something extremely common for those who work in an office. This stretch has ancient roots in Eastern health practices, but gained enormous popularity in modern Japan as a response to the postural problems of contemporary life. In large Japanese cities like Tokyo and Osaka, where workers spend an average of 10 hours daily at their desks, the Cobra pose has become an essential part of the breaks recommended by occupational physicians. The benefits are impressive. The Cobra works directly on spinal extension, strengthens the spinal erectors, and expands the chest, facilitating deeper and fuller breathing. When you spend hours hunched over a desk, the muscles in the front part of your body shorten and those in the back weaken. The Cobra pose reverses exactly this pattern. It also works the hip flexors that remain permanently shortened in the sitting position, relieving the pressure they exert on the lower back. A study from the University of Tokyo showed that employees who performed this stretch twice a day for only 30 seconds reported a 47% reduction in lower back pain complaints in just 3 weeks. This data shows that even minimal interventions, when consistent, generate significant results. To execute, lie face down with your hands positioned close to your shoulders, elbows bent and close to your body. Keep your hips firmly supported on the floor and slowly lift your torso, extending your arms only as far as comfortable. The extension doesn't need to be complete. Your gaze should naturally follow forward and slightly upward without forcing your neck backward. A mistake I see many people make is rising too quickly and pushing their hips upward, transforming the movement into a kind of inverted plank that completely loses the purpose of the stretch. Another mistake is shrugging your shoulders toward your ears during the rise, which creates tension in the trapezius instead of relieving it. Keep your shoulders actively away from your ears. Hold the position for 20 to 30 seconds, rest briefly, and repeat 3 to 4 times. As you progress, gradually increase the time to 45 to 60 seconds per repetition. The contraindication is for people with spinal stenosis, spondylolisthesis, or herniated discs in the acute phase, who should avoid spinal extension movements without medical clearance. Stretch number 6, supine spinal twist. This stretch is fundamental for combating something we rarely talk about, but that affects practically everyone living in the modern world: rotational stiffness of the spine. The thoracic region, that middle part of the back, becomes extremely limited when we spend all day in static positions, and this limitation spreads like a domino effect, causing compensations in the shoulders, neck, and lower back. In Japan, the supine twist is frequently practiced in community health programs and in longevity clinics, where specialists recognize that the rotation capacity of the spine is one of the first indicators of functional health in older people. The exercise works precisely on the abdominal obliques, the spinal rotators, and also the lateral muscular chain of the torso, areas we rarely activate in modern life. Additionally, there's a decompression effect on the intervertebral discs that provides almost immediate relief, that delicious sensation that the spine is finally breathing after hours compressed. A study from the University of Sheffield with 64 adults showed a 41% increase in the rotational range of motion of the spine and a 53% reduction in pain complaints after 12 weeks of regular practice. To execute, lie on your back with your arms open in a T shape and your knees bent with your feet supported on the floor, keeping your shoulders firmly supported on the floor. Let both knees slowly fall to one side. Your head can gently turn to the opposite side, creating a gentle and controlled twist throughout the entire spine. What many people don't know is that breathing is the key to this exercise. With each exhalation, allow your knees to fall a little bit more toward the floor without forcing. The main mistakes to avoid are lifting the opposite shoulder off the floor during the twist, which nullifies much of the stretch, and rotating your knees quickly instead of letting them descend with the weight of gravity. Breathe deeply for 30 to 60 seconds on each side and repeat 2 to 3 times for each direction. The beauty of this exercise lies in its simplicity and its ability to produce noticeable results from the first session. The contraindication is for people with active herniated discs or vertebral instability who should consult a professional before including rotational movements in their routine. Stretch number 7, Pigeon pose. The pigeon pose is used in Japan to open the hip and release tensions accumulated from sedentary life. Originating from yoga, it was widely adopted in Japanese culture for its unmatched effectiveness in combating the negative effects of modern postural habits. Many Japanese incorporate this pose into their morning routines, recognizing its ability to preserve hip mobility even at advanced ages. And when we talk about hip mobility, we're talking about something that affects absolutely everything in your functional life. Sitting, standing, walking, climbing stairs, even sleeping comfortably. The deep stretching of the external hip rotators and the piriformis, a muscle that when shortened can compress the sciatic nerve and cause that radiating pain that goes down the leg, brings significant relief. In rural areas of Japan, elderly people practice modified versions of this pose in community health meetings, and this contributes to the impressive mobility they maintain even after 80 years. To execute, start on all fours. Bring your right knee forward toward your right hand and position your shin at a comfortable angle on the floor. Extend your left leg backward and gradually lower your hip toward the floor. Keep your torso upright at first, and as you feel your body relaxing, slowly lean forward over the front leg to deepen the stretch. The Japanese emphasize the importance of finding a comfortable tension, never forcing beyond individual limits. The most common mistakes are letting your hip drop to one side, which misaligns the pelvis and concentrates pressure on the knee instead of the hip, and forcing the front shin to be parallel to your body when mobility doesn't yet allow this. If you feel any discomfort in the front knee, reduce the angle of the shin until the stretching sensation is only in the hip and glute. Hold the position for 30 to 60 seconds on each side, breathing deeply, and repeat 2 to 3 times for each leg. As you progress, increase the time to up to 90 seconds per side. People with knee injuries, hip problems such as advanced osteoarthritis, or recent surgeries in the region should avoid this exercise without medical clearance. If you enjoyed this and want to also discover the isometric exercises that the Japanese practice to strengthen the body without destroying the joints, like in traditional bodybuilding, we left a video appearing right now on the screen showing each one of them better. Don't fail to check it out. Thank you for watching until here, and God bless you, my friend.